The fourth and final step of the strategy is about replying to everyone. And when I mean everyone who engages with your content. Because as you start doing this and applying the formula, you will get more and more people who reply to your tweets. And as they do so, it is very important that you reply to as many people as you can. And the reason for this is twofold. First reason is because if you reply to everyone, you build a relationship with everyone. Most people on Twitter, they see your tweet once, they don't follow you, but they like it, and so they reply something, and that's the end of the story. But if you reply to them, they will think about something, they will feel appreciated, and they will consider following you way more. So just by replying to everyone, you will actually get more followers because most people who reply to you might not follow you. They just reply because they saw your tweet. But if you reply to them, you start building a relationship. And we are going back to step one, build relationships with people and have people engage with each other a lot. So in the end, you get more engagement on your tweets. Now, a second reason why you need to reply to everyone is, as you can guess, knowing me now, the algorithm. So remember, the algorithm gives priority to the most recent tweets. So if you tweet something, in the next hour or so, people who open the app will see it high in the priority of their feed. But it also works with replies. So let's say you tweet something at 5 p.m. For 1 hour, it's showing up in the most recent part of the feed, and then it dies. And then it's only because you managed to get engagement on it that it keeps visibility in the feed. And let's say you get 5 people replying to your tweet in the first couple hours. You open the Twitter app again, let's say at 8 p.m., and you reply back to these people. Well, because your replies will be considered as most recent tweets again, this will bring up your replies to your followers' feed, including your main tweet that you're replying to. And this is how you can keep visibility for a long time, because as people engage with your tweets and you reply back to them, your replies will show up and bring everything up in your followers' feed. So that way, you manage to keep a tweet alive for way longer. So that's why you should always reply to everyone who replies to your tweets. If you don't have time, it's okay. You don't have to do it, but try to reply to as many people as you can. This is the best way to turn followers into fans, to turn strangers into followers, and to also stay visible in the algorithm for a bit longer. Another thing I want to mention that is pretty weird but very effective to turn more people who look at your tweets into followers is to use people's first name. The first time I experienced this, it was, I think, in August 2021, and I had replied to some woman who had tweeted. I didn't know her, I didn't follow her, I just saw her tweet was maybe trending, and I replied to her, and she replied back using my first name. She was like, well, thanks for saying that, Dagobert. I was like, fuck, like she's using my first name. I was shocked. It was weird because I don't know her. But even though it was weird, I was compelled to check her profile, to learn more about her. Like, I don't know, it was so weird because she used my first name. She made it real, All of a sudden, it wasn't just like me replying to some stranger. It was me and her, like we were connecting. And so it was so powerful that I decided to use it. Next day, I get a dozen people replying to my tweet. Every single one of them, I replied using their first name. I would look into their username, and if it wasn't present, I would look like everywhere I could on their profile to find their first name. So that was pretty creepy, but try to keep it like not creepy, but I was so excited about this thing, I wanted to try it. So I looked everywhere for their first name and I replied, and it was shocking how much more engagement I got. Not so much engagement, but number of people who started being very receptive to me. Because, a lot of people, they go on Twitter, they reply to something, it's pretty random. But if you reply to them, already it's good. But if you reply to them using their first name, like they will check your profile and they will probably follow you. Especially the bigger account you have, the more it works. So it was working for me even when I had like a very small number of followers. But the more you grow, the more powerful that is. Because somebody who has no followers and they see you and you reply to them with their first name and you like interested in them, it's going to blow their minds. And they will become your followers. And even more importantly, they will become your fan. I know it sounds crazy, But please give it a shot. Whenever somebody replies to you, use their first name when you reply back. And you will see you will probably get way faster growth by doing this because people will feel special and that you're really talking to them. I want you to reply to everyone, but it's not really everyone. Sometimes there are people who are just toxic or negative. Like you read their reply and you're like, I feel bad. What I do is I go to their reply under my tweet, I click the three dots on the top right, and I start hiding their tweets. And if they really went over the line, I block them. And the reason I do this is for two reasons. First, I'm never going to convince them. I will not be able to convince them, so this is just wasting my time anyway. But second, even more important, is that if I do not hide their reply, it will discourage other people from engaging with my tweet. Because when somebody looks at a tweet and they want to engage with it, they will open the reply. And when they open the replies, they see what people are talking about. And if what they see is somebody being negative or toxic or fighting, they will run away. Nobody wants to be part of a fight. I mean, most people, if you're like in a crazy Twitter niche, like alt-right, violent political stuff, maybe it's your thing. But for most people on Twitter, it's not good when things get heating up. So when somebody is bringing negativity and toxicity to your tweets by replying something mean, just hide it as fast as you can. Because that way, when people come to your replies, they don't feel scared off, they don't feel weird, and they actually can participate. Because again, your goal is to get engagement and participation under your tweets. So make sure your replies stays a safe and enjoyable place for most people. Now, there's another way that people can be bothering you in the replies, and it's by promoting their stuff. Some people will just spam their stuff completely unrelated to your tweet. In that case, just hide the reply and block them. But sometimes it's somebody you know and they thought it was a good idea to promote it. So again, it's going to depend on the relationship you have with the person. But in most cases, if the reply isn't really relevant to your tweet, you should hide it. Because again, when people come to see your replies, you don't want them to think it's just a spam fest. Like it shouldn't be like, a big place where people tweet random shit. The replies should be interesting, inspiring, and make them want to reply so you get more engagement. So if the first thing they see is somebody promoting their product, it's weird. So hide it as fast as you can, just like somebody being toxic. The only exception is if somebody promotes something that's actually relevant to the discussion. Like you talk about a problem and they say, oh yeah, I saw this thing or I'm building this product which solves that problem. Then that's fine. The goal here is to make sure your replies always remain a place of positivity and relevant content. Because if it becomes something else, it will, push away people who want to engage, but they just are scared of the low quality they see. And they are less inspired to engage, and you lose engagement, you lose growth. Now, when you reply to someone, it doesn't have to be crazy. Just an acknowledgement like thank you or I appreciate what you said is enough. Like you're not here to bring value as much as when you're replying to other people's content. Here you're just acknowledging that they exist and that you appreciate that they reply. This is enough. For most people, this is already a big thing because so few people do it. Just by doing that, they will see you in a better light and they will be way more likely to follow you or turn into your fan.